Wait a minute. Did Tim Burchett just tell Jaime Maussan that Tim had seen a UFO? Well, let's talk about it and a whole lot else. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, in the interview with Jaime Maussan the other day, where they were talking about the Nazca mummies and where Tim said he was going to step up and help Jaime get the Nazca mummies researched in the U.S., Tim let something really juicy slip, something that doesn't have anything to do, well, except tangentially, with the Nazca mummies. Here Tim is hinting that he may have seen a UFO.
And I don't understand what, I'll be very careful what I say here. I don't understand the technology behind some things that I've seen. How about if I leave it at that?
Yeah, that's about how I feel, Jaime. But there you go. Tim seeming to admit that he has seen a UFO. Now, or at least some technology from a UFO. Now, I imagine this was in a skiff. This is pictures of a UFO or pieces of a UFO. I doubt he actually went to one of these secret facilities where they're reverse engineering and studying this stuff. But who knows? I mean, if he did, we probably wouldn't hear about it. But I'm imagining this is probably in a skiff. But yeah, it looks like he did actually see some technology or evidence of technology that made him raise an eyebrow and that he can't explain. That is amazing. I wish he could open up about it, but of course he can't. And there goes the idea that UFOs aren't classified, right? It's just the technology and gathering information about them that's classified. No, if that were the case, then this event would not be classified. Yeah, UFOs are classified. Reality is classified. Meanwhile, did UFOs show up for an emergency medical situation with President Joe Biden? In July, and this is shared by Daily Beast and rebroadcast by Think Tank, police audio confirms Biden's medical emergency in Las Vegas. And what's really interesting about this is that in the police chatter, there are some unknown drones flying around. So let's give a listen real quick.
If it doesn't look good, don't do it. Call it out so we can slow things down more. But we got to make sure we keep this safe. So be careful as you hit these intersections. Let's make sure we do this safely. No one gets hurt.
Downtown's asking, do we know if the Secret Service has drones flying over the stratosphere right now?
I don't think so.
Copy.
That's clarify. Where's that drone at?
It's stratosphere. It's flying 2,500 feet.
644, all my units at the airport, be advised. The motorcade is at Air Force One.
Yeah, and that's all they have to say about these unknown drones. It totally could have been just, actual drones, but it could have been something more anomalous. So let me know what you think. Did UFOs show up for this medical emergency of Joe Biden? Meanwhile, as we get closer to the release of Richard Dolan's book on USOs, he's starting to talk about this more. And here he is on News Nation talking a little bit about USOs.
Well, about 20% of all of the cases I found have to do with one of the nation's military, one of the world's militaries. Most of those are United States military. By far, most of the ones that I've collected. And I can say, when we hear the folks at the Pentagon say things like, well, we're going to look into this problem. We'll get back to you when we find out more about it. When I look at some of these Navy cases, there is no chance whatsoever that the upper echelon at the Pentagon and the Navy do not know. One example, there was a case from 1971. It goes back a bit. We've got many more recent cases, but this one from 1971 involved the USS John F. Kennedy aircraft carrier. In July of that year, we have a very detailed account from a gentleman who was aboard that ship, ran communications, and described just after they had finished a very intensive period of training called carrier qualifications, or CARQUALs. They were in the Caribbean, and they saw this massive orange glowing spherical object that hovered above the ship, and according to what he said, shut down their communications for a good 20-25 minutes while the ship went to general quarters, battle stations. I would say if you're the United States Navy, there's probably nothing more important to you than your aircraft carriers, which have nuclear weapons.
Yeah, and there's other cases of them, a ship seeing a UFO and then the captain ordering everybody indoors so that they couldn't observe this thing. They have known about it and been, dealing with it in one shape or another for a while. What is Richard going to reveal in his book? I think whatever is going on under the waves is critically important and a huge part in all of this. So I'm hoping he's able to shed some light on USOs. But let me know what you think about all that in the comments below. Meanwhile, Jon Stewart has a new breaking news update for us about where the aliens were taken in the 50s. This is the summary at the end of this video. I encourage you to go watch the full video for all the details, and I'll go over the bullet points in a minute. But I really encourage you to go watch the full video. It's got a lot of great information in it, connecting to a story from Linda Moulton Howe and some declassified documents. Here he is summing things up very briefly.
Luminaries that I think, with the help of these intelligent, courageous people on the internet, that the UFO world finally has its answer of where non-human intelligent beings living were taken in the 50s and early 60s. It was OPAC BBS, the oceanic platform for North Atlantic and the Caribbean. So,
yeah, really, really fascinating, guys. And here he is. This is Jon giving some of the highlights of his new information, bombshell information on the facility where living NHI biological beings were taken in the 50s and 60s for permanent study. And Jon says, in his opinion, the fact that this information has been cross-referenced and pieced together by 3 individuals over 10 years makes this in the top 3 documents in all of ufology. From Linda Moulton Howe, MJ12, Special Operations Manual for ET Recovery, we have Solve the Code, OPNAC BBS 01. My credit to MM, a former ocean engineering student at an American university who dug this up and sent it to me. This tops them all, folks. The facility, according to the SOM, to take captured living specimens was OPNAC BBS. OPNAC stands for Oceanic Platform for the North Atlantic and Caribbean. BBS stands for the Bermuda Biological Station. So pay attention. Oceanic Platform is both literal and figurative in that field. There are oceanic platforms that are literally physical platforms in the ocean where research is conducted. And we found the gentleman who was a benefactor for this research platform, Arch Skurlock, this gentleman right here, corporate chairman, rocket scientist, and World War II naval officer. He was a pioneer of solid propellant rocketry, founder of the Atlantic Research Corporation, and chairman of the investment firm Research Industries Incorporated, who lived in Bermuda. He also worked for the Department of the Navy in their guided missile research. Jon says, I know you're shocked, right? That he worked in missile research for the Navy. So does it make sense that after the Cape Girardeau, I'm mispronouncing that, in Roswell crashes, the USG would need a permanent facility other than Wright-Patterson or Los Alamos to do in-depth studies of NHI beings, and also to have the American populace protected from any potential biological contamination by conducting research offshore. Ladies and gentlemen, this is game, set, and match for Linda Moulton Howe and the MJ12 SOM. So Jon believes he has found the answer to a question raised by Linda Moulton Howe talking about this document right here, top secret, magic eyes only. Great research talking about OPNAC BBS, because it's always been a mystery what that reference to in this document. Living entities were taken to OPNAC BBS 01. That is living non-human organisms in apparent good or reasonable health. Now, non-human beings were taken to Blue Lab WP61. So I guess that is still a mystery. Anyway, great work, Jon. Man, I hope you don't leave the field because this is gangbuster stuff. Meanwhile, I talked about this on the live stream a little bit, but I thought I would go over it again in case you missed the live stream. I think this is incredibly important and juicy. From John Greenwald. First page was released by the FBI this past week, talking about these FOIA documents or these declassified documents. There's the first page. The same page, however, was released by the National Archives in the JFK declassifications in 2017. And that's this page right here. Now, I don't know why it had to be re-released if it was already, released, but they did. What's really interesting is that there's more redactions in the new version than in the old version. And the redactions are very telling, guys, and I think possibly very germane to the whole UFO topic. What do they redact? Well, okay, although the National Archives are the repository for the Kennedy assassination documents, the FBI redacted are responsible for restricting research. So some unnamed entity is responsible for restricting research. But wait a minute, that document has already been released and we know who that entity is. Of course, it's the CIA. Why did they redact the name of the CIA in terms of restricting research into this information? They also mentioned the CIA later on. Reclassification in 1971 has released 3,000 pages, and the CIA later released more, but none of the material released has created any sensation. Well, what's creating a sensation is that they redacted the CIA again, right there. They are removing any reference to the CIA in connection to JFK's assassination. And if you've seen the brilliant infographics piece about the cover-up of information related to the JFK assassination, you will see that the CIA was heavily involved in covering stuff up in seemingly even taking people out, assassinating people to silence information about what really went on with the JFK assassination. It's a great piece by Infographics. Highly recommend you checking it out. But then you see stuff like this with the CIA even being removed from already released information about this stuff. So what part did they have to play in that? What part does the CIA have to play in a lot of this? I imagine they're pretty hands-on in a lot of things, including the UFO topic. But let me know if you think this discrepancy between the old version and the new version is as juicy as I do. Meanwhile, another mystery from the ancient past. The same basic figure depicted both in Japan and Mexico. I'm calling it a totem pole. That's the wrong word for it. But this really interesting statue showing, essentially the same thing, even with the three kind of little things on the side right there. Same thing, guys. Same figure, same representation, same hat, same ears. It's the same thing, same idea depicted in different parts of the world, guys. Atlantis was real. Atlantis was real, guys, or whatever. Use Atlantis as a placeholder for a vanished, lost, ancient civilization that had a global impact. Probably, I would imagine, if there was one of those civilizations, there was probably multiple of them. If there was an Atlantis, there was a Lemuria. So this could have been a Lemurian influence or the like, right? Definitely there seem to be some ancient people spreading their knowledge all around the world. What does this mean? Are any remnants of those civilizations still around today? And could that explain some of the anomalous activity that we're seeing? Man, I'd love to know, and let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments below. I mean, look at this, guys. Depictions from India, Russia, and Mexico, all showing basically the same idea. They show it in different ways. We've got candle head there, we've got serpent head there, and we've got more serpents over there. But then we got the same constellation, the Pleiades, depicted in Mesopotamia, India, and Egypt, all in exactly the same representation of the Pleiades. Just really interesting. Not only the figures they have in common, but the apparent alignment they had with Pleiades. Really fascinating, guys. I think that if we could understand what was going on in the ancient world, we could probably understand a lot of what is going on today. Meanwhile, check this out. This is really exciting, guys. Brazil has released some new UFO documents. That's right, we've got a UFO document dump. Ronnie Vernet is telling us about it. Brazilian National Archives releases new batch of UAP documents. The Brazilian National Archives published this week 35 new documents related to incidents between UFOs and commercial pilots that happened in 2023. And here is the document dump right here. Check it out. Brazilian National Archives releases new batch of UAP documents. About pilot encounters. Now, I haven't had a chance to go through this yet, but if you have, let me know your thoughts about it all in the comments below, but I will link to this. And, of course, you can go over it at your leisure. Last but not least, if you see a sheep on its back, can't get up, try to do what this guy does. This guy's a sheep-saving rock star, guys. So let me know what you think about this sheep-saving rock star and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I'd sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, much like this guy right here. And also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.